You're listening to Systemic Error Podcast. The failure was designed.
McConnell's hometown newspaper blasts him for mysterious absence, based on an article by Matthew Rosso. McConnell's absence is not the story. The power vacuum is a health narrative built to hide a power problem. The coverage wants to make this about a senior senator's health, a few proof-of-life photos, and the usual bipartisan theater around transparency. That is the soft focus version. The harder fact is that Mitch McConnell's absence has exposed how much institutional leverage still sits in one aging Republican body and how little the Senate can function when that leverage goes missing. Who actually has power? McConnell is not just any senator in this account. He is a key GOP vote on Appropriations and Agriculture, and his absence leaves those committees split 1:1, which means Republican leadership loses the ability to move legislation without Democratic support. That is the rebuild power structure here. One party's agenda is pinned to one man's attendance, and the Senate's supposedly sturdy machinery is shown to be brittle and dependent. The source notes that McConnell missed 38 votes after his June 14 hospitalization, most of them nominations and confirmations, plus several legislative votes, including an affordable housing bill. That is not a trivial list. It is a practical record of a chamber whose work is routinely hostage to individual capacity and partisan arithmetic. The real stakes are war powers. The article eventually stumbles into the issue that actually matters: resolutions over presidential war powers and U.S. military involvement in Iran. That is the arena where McConnell's absence has immediate consequence, because race-thin margins decide whether Congress asserts any control at all over war-making. When a Senate seat can help determine whether lawmakers restrain military escalation, this is not a personal health sidebar. It is a constitutional power struggle. Who benefits from the misdirection? The framing around concerns and updates makes the story sound like a civility problem, as if the main issue is whether the public has been adequately reassured. That is misdirection. The public does not need a better gossip cycle. It needs clarity about who is making decisions, who is blocking votes, and who is profiting from institutional drift. McConnell's office says he is meeting with staff on defense, appropriations, foreign policy, the Farm Bill, and constituent services. Maybe so, but the Senate is judged by votes, not press statements. If the office wants the country to believe he is fully at work, the missed roll calls and committee paralysis are the evidence that matters. Republican dependence, Democratic leverage. This story also shows how hollow GOP claims of governing strength really are. Republican leadership is reduced to counting on one senior senator to remain functional enough to preserve procedural control. That is not discipline, it is dependency. And when the numbers tighten on war powers, the supposed party of hard power suddenly looks like a caucus held together by medical uncertainty and procedural lock. Democrats should not pretend this is a neutral institutional inconvenience. It is a demonstration of where leverage sits, how Republican governance is built around obstruction and narrow margins, and why even a single missing vote can alter the odds on questions as grave as military force. The larger pattern. This is what American governance looks like when power is personalized, accountability is deferred, and institutions are treated as stage props until they stop working. A Senate leader can disappear from public view, the chamber can lose operational capacity, and the press can still spend half its energy on tone and reassurance. The deeper lesson is not about one senator's condition. It is about a political system that normalizes senescence, secrecy, and narrow partisan control while outsourcing actual democratic authority to a handful of fragile gatekeepers. That is not stability. It is institutional rot with better lighting. You've been listening to Systemic Error. Thanks to Alternet for today's article, with the automated voice of Arctic. Thanks for listening.